we've had Cursor, we've had Claude Code, we've had Codex, and now XAI, who is about to partner with Cursor, or about to buy Cursor, is introducing Grok Build. Grok Build is the XAI solution, or the way that I guess XAI wants to onboard developers to start developing with their models. An early beta of Grok Build, an agentic CLI for coding, building apps, and automating workflows is now available for Super Grok heavy subscribers. Through this early beta, we will improve the model and the product based on your feedback. Would you shift to Grok Build, even though, like, with those huge sale going on right now, no reason to shift?
I watched a really interesting video. I think I sent it to you, Rick, it was from Theo, and he talked about what it takes to basically build a really good coding agent. There are three things, right? There's the research team, and I think a lot of people feel that Anthropic has some of the best research teams out there. The second one is data, and then the third one is compute, right? And data was actually the big thing that held XAI back, people are realizing, when it comes to building amazing models. Because it's not just about having large quantities of data. XAI has that with Twitter. There's tons of content on Twitter, but it's not quality content. And that was their issue, and that was why they partnered with Cursor. The third one was compute, and XAI does actually have compute, right? So basically the missing piece this whole time when it comes to XAI and the Grok models was not having access to big data. And the last thing that Theo kind of alluded to was that the internet basically closed down in the last couple of years, and it became way harder to scrape the internet. Before 2 years ago, OpenAI, Anthropic, these companies were able to basically query the entire internet, and that was what got them to, let's call it GPT 4.0 level. But then anything beyond that was kind of synthesizing the data and making really good data that they had access to when the internet was open, and again, amplifying it and improving it. So I will say that Cursor and Grok is an interesting and exciting potential competitor to Codex and Claude Code, because Grok is bringing the compute, whereas Cursor has really good data. Since Matt, you and millions of other people are building their applications, and they're able to see all of this back and forth of how applications are essentially built and what good outputs look like, right? Because let's say you started a Cursor chat window and you said, I want to build this feature. And if Cursor is able to see that feature go into production, that's the reinforcement learning of saying, oh, that was a good thing that the AI did, versus let's say you build another feature and that one didn't end up making it to production. Cursor learns that's not a good one. They have an amazingly valuable data set. Some would say even $10 billion worth, because that's how much XAI is willing to pay for, even if they walk away from the deal, right?
Yeah, I'm very bullish on XAI in general. I won't be trying this because, like, as you can see there, Rick, was it like $600 in order to try it out? That's just not. However, with everything that you just said, Ben, I think they're coming. I think they've got the largest velocity of any of the players in the space at the moment. That may just be because they're behind, and therefore it's easy to have velocity because they're a little bit further behind. But with all of the new things we've seen in the last couple of weeks, and also like of their models, like I was saying before, like it has been my go-to for the last month or so, the 4.1, like all of the research is absolutely the best on Grok. I use Grok personally if I just want a chat interface because it doesn't give me bullshit, and like woke up the best, they have access to the best talent, with Elon attracting the best talent as well. So I wouldn't be betting against XAI in the long term, but yeah, I'm not paying $600. But thankfully, some people will, hopefully, and then they'll make it better for the rest of us.
I'm wondering if you're a power user and you're not really a coding power user, but somehow spending a lot of tokens, then maybe it might be a good deal to do that. Like if you get $300 of usage for $100, and you get all of these things that they're announcing now too. For example, connectors, connecting all other apps onto your Grok, giving Grok skills is another thing they announced. Like this video basically shows, give me tools, I'll do the work, pull from your docs, calendar, email code, more with 20 new connectors. So they're following the footsteps of Codex with all their plugins, with Claude Code or with Claude with all their plugins, Cowork basically, right? So yeah, Grok is XAI, very bullish on XAI because indeed they're still at the ground floor in terms of AI functionality. Grok has been great in the Twitter app to ask what's the most viral news or find me this meme. But now the connectors at work, great. This week they announced Grok now has skills, so basically built-in skills in Super Grok, the same as that we've been using skills in Claude for a while. They announced the Grok or the XAI voice cloning. We discussed this last week, I think, Ben, about the voice cloning here, which, yeah, that's another step forward for AI that's competing with ElevenLabs now and with other providers, probably being able to provide it cheaper and having all the compute themselves instead of having to rely on other providers. So yeah, super bullish with this ecosystem that can only get better from a quality perspective. Have you been using this, or do you see any use cases for the voice cloning, Matt?
I think there's a lot of usage, especially in content creation, especially paired with tools like HeyGen. I think voice cloning is pretty much solved.
I haven't used voice cloning until a few days ago, since I discovered in Descript that you can actually do voice cloning as well. And if I make some cuts or if I notice I'm saying a wrong word, then I actually sometimes regenerate one of those words. And I haven't done this before, but now, the last few days, I see myself actually using this to make it all sound smoother. So maybe this is something for your product as well, Matt. If you're building a video editor, get those voice cloning options in there to smoothen out certain cuts. Yeah. Would highly recommend using it. Probably already do
I
this.
cannot condone. It's also very fun if you have friends who send you voice notes on WhatsApp. Just take all of them, clone their voice, send them back messages in their own voice. Great fun.
Have you actually been doing this?
No, I never break any terms of service, Rick. You know this. When that little checkbox appears and says, do you have full rights to use this voice? I always abide by that. Always abide by that.
I might implement Matt voice as this warm British voice as interviewer in my Sidekick app.
Yeah, you know how we were talking about AI therapists earlier? I'm going to clone your voice, Rick, and you could be my AI therapist.
I did actually see that people are taking their ex-girlfriends and boyfriends and they're voice cloning them so that they can still have conversations with them. Yeah, so there's some pretty toxic use cases, I think, of maybe voice cloning.
Yeah, it's just a tool, you can use it how you want.
I see opportunities. Miss your ex, upload to voice chat, you can forever talk to her.
You know,
that's USP.
I'm surprised we haven't seen malicious use, especially people send voice messages pretending to be a loved one, be like, hey, I need some. You see it every now and again. It's
grandma
pretty rare,
messages.
very convincing for us. And we know all about this sort of shit. If you are someone that knows nothing about it and you've been used to, if you hear the voice, it is that person. There's no question about it. Thankfully, I haven't heard more about it, but I am kind of surprised.
Yeah, true. XAI has been on a roll with the voice stuff because they also introduced your customer support needs a voice agent built for the real world. So you can now basically use Grok Voice Think Fast 1.0 for complex workflows with speed and accuracy. Hard to hear environments from multi-step troubleshooting to high volume tool calls. It keeps up. So it's not only voice cloning, it's also the talking to Grok gets better. And I think you can now plug into your products XAI catching up. Good stuff.